Right, welcome to another one of the podcast interviews for YouTube. I'm with a band called Glas. How are you doing, guys?
We're very well,
Really
thank
good.
you.
Fine, thank
Brilliant,
you.
brilliant. Yeah, we had an interview a while back now, didn't we? Must be coming on for a year and a half ago, maybe
It was, I
Sounds about
think,
right.
it was February last year from memory.
February last year.
February or March last year, yeah, something like
Wow,
that. Yeah,
wow.
I know.
Okay,
Use our
yes,
human calendar going around.
superb, superb. Right, so introduce yourselves, guys.
Well, as you've said, we are Douglas. We are Cornish band playing sort of folk rock. My name's Lucy. I am lead singer, guitar player, mandolin basher, and latest role that I've taken on is also songwriter as well. So that's who I am. And who's next?
She's going to be going solo soon, you can see, can't you?
Nah. Kevin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Kevin. I'm the drummer, and I'm the noisy git at the back. I had a wonderful audition. Basically, I was the only one who turned up for an audition. And Anthony said, "You got the job." And then everybody agreed with him.
Brilliant.
I'm very pleased we are as well, Kev.
No, it was a lot of fun. I played a lot in covers bands and stuff, done a few original things. But I saw the ad on Facebook and it fascinated me. I did warn them that I played drums and then percussion, not the other way around. And they seemed to quite enjoy what I did. I also give
Brilliant.
Lucy a run for her money now when it comes to banter. So
Hey.
that always
Fantastic.
helps. This little voice chirruping from the back every now and again at a gig.
Okay,
Just
Anthony.
keeps her in order.
So, yeah, Anthony.
Right,
what
go
yeah,
do you do?
I'm Anthony. I'm the guitar player. Little bit of mandolin, but Lucy mostly plays mandolin now, which is really nice. And I write songs as well. So I think on this latest album we're working on, I think I've written 9 and Lucy's written 3. So it's the balance is gradually shifting, I think,
Okay. Is the album sort of, has it got a release date yet, or?
Very good question.
Lucy?
We are aiming, so physical album available to anybody who comes and see us at our live performances. We're aiming for December, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then a digital release in the new year in January. But we're hoping to release the physical album a little bit beforehand, just as a kind of, I guess, a treat to our local fans, because we've once it goes out digitally, anybody can access it, but we wanted to give back a little bit to the local music community, because essentially that's where we were born out of, that's where we've come from. So physical albums will be available, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fantastic.
Wherever it is, December.
Yeah. Obviously we got to talk a bit about the lockdown, the first lockdown, because we've only just come into this one, haven't we? So how did it affect you musically then? How did you guys cope?
I think that
we
go for it, Anne.
Zoom meetings. We at first tried to attempt to actually play at these Zoom meetings, but as we're nearly all on Wi-Fi and not hardwired, as you can imagine, there were a few timing issues.
Yes.
So
we had a lot of giggles trying to do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we usually have timing issues anyway at gigs, but I've sorted them out now. But we started off. I don't think. I mean, I'm not the songwriters here, but it didn't affect us songwriting wise. But I think it just affected us practicing wise. Just getting together, practicing, shooting out ideas, that sort of thing. And I think up until about, July, August time, that was the first time we actually got together to play live. Right. I mean, unfortunately for me, having a big acoustic kit it's not sort of easy for me to just sort of trundle in and start playing it and stuff like that. Whereas these guys who are like got guitars, get straight down to do it. So yeah, we were pretty good, pretty good. I mean, it was quite short and intense practice routine because I had to go into self-isolation because I had major surgery at the end of August. But then we've just done it via Zoom, by sending MP3s and stuff, just listening to them, practicing along the guide tracks, and that's how we got the album together. Really.
So how did songwriting wise, the two songwriters in the band, how did that affect you? Did you become more productive, or
I know I definitely did. Being on furlough, I just had so much more time, and I guess so much more brain space, I think, to be able to be creative. I mean, there's not an awful lot in this old head, it kind of needs to be distributed evenly. But yeah, during furlough, I had these little projects that I was doing, but I was playing an awful lot of mandolin, quite a bit of guitar, and I just had this fantastic phase of creativity. I've never written like so many songs in a short space of time. So for me, it was actually really nice to have that time to be creative. And I don't know about you, Ant. How did you find it?
I mean, I think I wrote probably 2 or 3. I mean, but and with me, I mean, I've never been able to just say, okay, it's Monday morning, 9 o'clock. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write. It sort of seems to come or it doesn't. Right. And I must confess, I mean, I did find myself a couple of times waking up at 4 in the morning. I had little bits of ideas and actually ended up writing whole lyrics by 8 o'clock in the morning, which is quite good. So I don't know what it was about lockdown that sort of sort of brought that on, but and it seems to have dried up again for the minute. but yeah, no, it was good. I mean, I suppose obviously the major difference, and then this wouldn't be different from anyone else really, was not being able to play live, and because we had reasonably busy summer with festivals and sort of, and I mean the original idea with the album, I mean, we recorded 3 songs about this time last year, which we were sort of putting out on Spotify and all the various other bits and platforms. But the idea was then over this year to go back to the studio 2 or 3 times and then and record another 9 tracks. And of course, then with lockdown and everything, that sort of fell through the window. So we've ended up basically saying, okay, right, well, we need to do this. So let's, and I just ended up booking 3 sessions with Joe Dorniak at Riverfish in Penzance through October. 3 sessions that's now morphed into probably 4 or 5 actually, but and said let's just get it done basically. So that's and from a live point of view, I mean, obviously we had lots of festivals and things like that, which hopefully are going to rebook or have rebooked for next year, and we wait and see as to what's going to happen really.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because there's so much uncertainty around the next, I don't know, till maybe July next year, I hear. So
I think it's been a very interesting year. I mean, obviously it's been an interesting year, but something I've taken away from it is, for me, it's just astounding how versatile and how adaptable we've all become. I mean, for musicians, live gigs were removed for us. So we've ended up relying on Zoom and Facebook. I mean, we've done a couple of gigs over YouTube and stuff like that, not only for ourselves, but for other people as well. And I think, you've got to kind of take your hat off to the music community and just, I guess, human creativity as well. We've been faced with this challenge, and I really do think that we've come away a little bit stronger in the sense that we can provide these virtual music experiences. And okay, they're never going to live up to the live experience, but we are still out there. We're still making music and we're still broadcasting it.
Yes, I mean, I think it's amazing through obviously talking to bands and stuff, how technology, bands and artists have just grasped it to, you know, I mean, I suppose it's always been there, but particularly the lockdown seemed to have focused us right in on you know, this medium, getting it out
Absolutely.
through, you know, and I mean, thank goodness, because can you imagine, you know, not having this and being stuck with all your musical thoughts and everything to try and get out, and it would be a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
you're absolutely right. I mean, if this, you know, you can just imagine if this had happened, say, 30 years ago,
Yeah,
and people would have been so isolated without
Yeah.
being able to do this type of stuff. So yeah.
That's true, very, very true. So you've got your album, which is almost finished, you say. So
Very, very close.
very close, yeah.
Very
So
close.
what do you know, what's after that? I mean, obviously we're going to take live performances for granted, in a sense that that's got to happen again, but you know, any other type of things that you've got in the pipeline?
Well, Anthony's already thinking about album number 3, aren't you, Ant?
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, I do this. I go, oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, because I mean, obviously, as Lucy said to me, she's been writing quite a lot of songs, and I've got quite a few sort of backed up. So we were thinking about that. But I mean, I think, and you know, without wanting to sound sort of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the right word here, but you know, without wanting to get ahead of ourselves, I mean, we would obviously love to be able to start playing in other parts of the country. And we were, you know, before this happened, we were talking about, okay, so let's have a look at what venues we might be able to look for a tour, say of the south of England at least, or something like that.
Right.
So that's, and obviously more festivals, and you know, and fingers crossed we have got 2 or 3, you know, reasonably big festivals for next summer so far. So that's looking really good. So it is, you know, I suppose, you know, it applies to whatever you do, but you're always looking at the next goal, the next thing. Oh yeah, we need to be doing that. We need to be doing that. But yeah, that's the plan, certainly.
Brilliant. So an interesting question, I think, here for Kevin. Being the drummer of the band, obviously drummers have got a lot of kit, haven't they? I mean, you know, do the others give you a hand to load and unload?
I never see them.
Brilliant.
Actually, that is totally and absolutely untrue, Craig.
Yeah.
They are the most helpful band I've ever been in terms of getting my gear in, getting it sorted. And I love it, yeah. I mean, to tell you a quick story, as I said, I alluded to major surgery, which meant it was quite difficult to recover from. So Lou, who unfortunately isn't with us today, she volunteered to come over, pick my gear up and me, load it into the car, unload it at the other end with the help of Joe and that. But all I had to do was set it up and play it for the 2 days that I was recording for.
Wow.
And that's, you know, and that wasn't the only volunteer I got. I mean, Lucy as well said she would only too pleased to come and pick me up and that. So, yeah, from that point of view, no. I have been in bands where I've actually been left to pack up my kit on my own. The rest of the band have actually scarpered. So that has happened to me. But I have to say, though, in all fairness, a lot of the bands I've been in since I've been down in Cornwall, because I'm not a native of Cornwall. In fact, this year will be 10 years since we moved down here. So hopefully I'm a part native Cornishman or an inherited Cornishman, I don't know. But
you're an honorary Cornishman, Kev.
Honorary, there. All the bands I've been there, they've all helped to one degree or another, getting gear in, getting gear out.
Right.
So, no, I can't complain. But yeah, the noise we get at the back does get a little appreciation sometimes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's great fun, because not only do I get to play kit, if we do an acoustic gigs, like we did at Bradworthy last year, I'm playing things like cajon or djembe or stuff like that. So that's expanding my skill set.
Right.
Because normally I'm just known as a kit player. So playing cajon and stuff like that and thinking up new rhythms for that is really good. And working on original stuff, because it's all great material. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's backside. I genuinely mean it. It's really good stuff. Some of it's just you hear the beat straight away, and some of it you have to think about what you're playing, you know. And sometimes I'll move with the bass player. Sometimes I'll be influenced by what the guitar's doing, rhythmically speaking. So, no, fantastic band. Great bunch of guys. None of them can, you can't get a drink out of any of them, mind, but there you go.
You mentioned a bass player. So how many actually are there in the band?
There's
5.
5 of us.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned Lou.
Yeah, so obviously we've got the 3 of us. We've got David Gawley, our bass player, who, bless his heart, joined the band the end of last year, and I think since has only done a handful of live gigs with us because of this delightful disease going around. But he's great. And then we've got Lou Pacina, who plays flute, violin, has recently picked up a cello as well. She, I think, has got to be by far the most instrumental person amongst us, really. She's incredible and very, very, very good at back and harmony as well.
she's also playing on the sort of there's a little instrumental track which we put on to one of the songs where she's playing something called a shruti board.
Enlighten us, please.
It's apparently it's an Indian instrument. It is a wind instrument, but you basically create the wind. It's like a box, and you literally just push this thing in and out, and there's some sort of keys, I don't know. So it creates a drone, and that's great sound. Yeah. So she's playing that on it as well.
Brilliant.
These 2 didn't know that because they didn't see her doing it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's news to us.
Yeah, exactly.
You're squeezing her fluty box.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. The other question was, I mean, I think I remember in the first interview you telling me, but for the sake of new listeners, Glas, explain the name.
So the name is 2 Cornish words. It means black and blue. And the name came about, well, Anthony and I were looking for a name back in the days when we were just playing open mics as a duo. Rather than Anthony and Lucy, we were kind of looking for a name to call ourselves by. And it just so happened that Anthony had this little leaflet of Cornish language words, colours, and he thought, oh yeah, I really like the sound of those 2, black and blue. And then when I turned up and he suggested this, it just turned out that those were the 2 colours I was wearing that day as well. So it's kind of stuck, really. Black and blue has kind of become a bit of a theme of ours, and stuff like, when we're doing photo shoots, we kind of say, right, let's get blue in there somehow. It's represented in our logo as well. So it's kind of become a bit of an ongoing theme, but that's what the name means, Glas, black and blue.
Fantastic.
And actually, I mean, it sort of works. It seems to me it's working really well with this new record we're making, because it's just turned out that a lot of the songs seem to be or have something to do with the sea. So
quite dark and
stormy. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
it sort of works, pretty well with that.
So what I asked for is two tracks to put up, 2 videos, that you've got on YouTube. I know Lucy, before we started recording, said you were going to load one out. Do you want to give me the names of the 2 tracks you'd like me to put up?
So yeah, the first one, which is our latest video to have come out, is Top of the World, which has all of us except for Kevin. Unfortunately, Kevin was unable to join us that day, which is very sad. But his drums are there; they're on the track. You just can't see him on the video. So that's the first one, Top of the World. Yep. And then the second one I'll be sending over to you is Icon Buddy, which Kevin is in, but our bass player David Gawley is not. So
okay.
We're not doing very well here. But Icon Buddy is based off a Balmaiden chant that was recorded in Camborne, I want to say in the 19th century. And it's what the Balmaidens would chant when they're working above grass in the mines. So that's what the chorus is based off. And pretty much it's a Cornish anthem of Cornish feminism, really. It's my excuse as a singer to get very feminist, Cornish and angry.
Don't normally need an excuse.
Not that I need an excuse, really. No, believe it or not, the Cornish accent can come out from time to time. Yeah, that's what that's about. I can buddy.
Tell
Okay,
them where it was
brilliant.
shot, Luce.
Sorry?
Where was it shot?
Where was it shot?
Yeah, the big one.
Well, part of it was shot in the Tinner's Arms. We need to give a shout out to the Tinner's Arms. The other half was shot at the Great Flatload on a blustery, bitterly cold December day.
Wow.
We spent the day clowning around on the Great Flatload, chasing each other around the mines, which was absolutely hilarious.
And Anthony cracking his ribs.
Oh, Anthony
yeah,
cracked
yeah.
his rib. That's got to be a highlight for the day.
Yeah, there's a scene where Kevin and I are supposed to be trying to catch the girls, and they stretch a rope out and we fall over it. And Kevin did a wonderful proper fall and roll, and I tripped over it and came down, went, ow, God, that hurt, and I had actually cracked a rib.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
The
Sacrifice for the arts.
Yeah.
Worth looking at as well, Craig.
Sorry, mate.
We've got an outtakes clip as well that you ought to look at as well.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually hear the crack of the rib.
I shall seek
beautiful.
that one out. Yes. Yeah. In the first interview, towards the end there, you remember I asked you if there's anybody you'd like to thank musically for being here, at this present moment. So if you want to go do a round.
Going first.
Well, Anthony, you go first.
Okay, so I'm going to say Joe Dworniak straight away, who's our engineer stroke producer, who runs Riverfish Studio in Penzance, who is the most brilliant person to work with. I mean, just endlessly patient with us.
Excellent.
And comes up with fantastic ideas, and great, obviously huge, fantastic musician in his own right. So yeah, that's who I'll shout out.
Brilliant.
Kevin, got anybody?
Right, well, I mean, apart from the bands that I've been in where I've learnt valuable lessons on what to do and what not to do, I think it's the current lineup of this band, because they're a fabulous bunch. They write great songs. We have tremendous banter together, very supportive, and I love them all. So yeah, the rest of my band.
Lovely. Lovely.
I'm going to build on what Kevin was just saying there, because of the band, I think for me as a musician, I've got to give a shout out to Mr. Anthony Power down there, because back in 2016, I did not sing in public. I did not play any instruments whatsoever, and I would definitely never dream of writing a song until Anthony came along and said, I really like your singing voice, fancy doing some open mics and maybe forming a band. And it has been the most crazy roller coaster 4 years of my life, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So big shout out to Anthony Power down there.
Aww.
Yeah, guys, look, thank you so much for giving me the interview, and really good luck with all your future plans there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah,
We're hopefully going to be debuting the album at the Acorn on the 19th of next month. But again, that's subject to lockdown rules.
Yes.
That's the hope.
Yeah. But assuming we're out of lockdown, guys, look out for Glas at the Acorn on the 19th of December. We do have a gig there. Tickets are on sale. We still have some left. So go and book those
Brilliant.
if you can. We've been assured by the powers that be that hopefully we won't be in lockdown in December. So fingers crossed that goes ahead.
Yes. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you, guys, and see you again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.